Edgerunners, the freelancers of the dark future, bounty hunters that will do a job if you have enough eddies. Now previously I talked about Edgerunners Incorporated, a shadow database that served as a middleman between the client and the runner. If you want to know more about that, go and check out the part 1 first. The list itself is divided into a few subcategories: solos, medias, medtechs, fixers, techies, netrunners, and others. Now we're going to start off with solos in this episode, and the first one on the list is Bosch. His real name is unknown, and no one actually knows exactly where he is from. Some say he was a cop in New York and then he was dismissed from the force in 2011 because he assaulted a superior officer, and the reason for that was because apparently he was ordered to shoot a street kid just because he splashed some mud on officer's shoes. Keep in mind, the police during this time didn't really care much about street kids, and there are only a handful of good, honest cops in the Cyberpunk universe, and in ours as well. Now after that, Bosch went back to his precinct, and as soon as a new commander stepped in, Bosch decided to pick up some bounties from them, and after some time he became a trusted freelancer for the department. Bosch is extremely methodical and intelligent. He takes contracts very seriously, monitoring the target, telling them to make everything look perfect and according to the plan. Generally, he is laid back, but once it's action time, he's able to finish any contract with almost perfect plan. Next up is Lynx, or Linda Korolev. She is interesting because she appeared as a little girl on a cover of Newsweek magazine in 1997, all covered in blood and holding a polymer one-shot pistol. So she experienced pain and violence since she was little. Obviously, she joined a booster gang of early age. Sadly, her initiation involved multiple beatings and a sexual assault. She became a full member after she murdered her own mother. By the age of 17, most of her gang was wiped out, though due to other gangs moving in, and when her brother was chainsawed to death, she decided to leave all of that, and she joined the army during the invasion of Brazil. She was assigned to the 1st Cybercav unit, where she served for 3 years. Her operating style is different than Bosch, for example. She can be crude and abusive. Some who knew her actually said she is as subtle as a lead pipe. She hates all Europeans, especially Euro solos or high riders, because she views Leo as a members-only extension of Europe. But even with all this hate, she went to Europe for a month because she had a job from the person known only as the Brain, where she received urotherapy, which replaced her augmented parts with fresh body parts. She tries to change her personality, but only time will tell if she will be able to do it. Next up is Saber. Her parents actually sold her to a ripper dog, which meant she would be chopped up for commercial parts, but the dog was actually carjacked and she managed to escape. She was doing everything she could to survive on the streets, later joining the gang that, taught her how to fight and defend herself. She had multiple arrests, but always came back to the streets. When she was 16, her gang clashed with another rival gang, and she was one of the few to survive. After that, she tried to join the PD and was considering CSVAT and military, but in the end, she went back to be the classic street samurai. Her operating style is cold and pretty much neutral. She doesn't smile, party, dance, etc., but rather takes jobs for pretty much anything she likes: money, chips, and so on. She doesn't actually get a rush from the job, so she just takes these contracts to survive in a sense, because after years of violence and abuse, her reactions and emotions went back to bare minimum. Next up is Krista Margaret. She is coming from the Eastern European stock, and having served in the US Army for 4 years, she gained connections and combat knowledge she later applied in the streets. The problem was, because she was taking so many jobs, is that one corporation got mad at her for shutting down one of her black ops, and she had her license removed. Later she got that license back, and she is still undecided on how to take revenge on that corporation. But with every job she takes, she hopes that she will do something to damage and hurt that particular corporation. Next up is Bruce. Now, Bruce is more of your classical soldier type person. He was born into a nomad pack, and as usually nomads are, he was on the move since earliest age. He actually came to US very young and has not shed his Australian background. Serving as a heavy weapons specialist in several small South American African wars, there he learned his trade as a US trooper and later as a mercenary. He lives for the thrill of the action. He is usually very violent and antisocial even to his comrades, and if you ever say smack about his parents though, he will exact a painful revenge to you or anyone else. He is extremely impulsive, and you can kinda see why his operating style is mostly using the most weapons possible, the biggest weapon possible. This means equipping all of the heavy stuff and not caring much for stealth, but rather muscling your way in. He believes in group work rather than individual and is prone to threaten his superiors if they wanted to sacrifice a group in a stupid way or do something which would jeopardize the group itself. Next up, we have two solos that went crazy with their cyberware. The first one is Crowman. No one actually knows who he is. He considers himself born when he became an actual Borg. Since the early days, he already built his reputation as being already mad or about to go completely cyber psycho. He doesn't care about the numbers, firepower, and the clinical state of his opponents. The work done on him is actually very expensive, and it was done by Maeji of Tokyo, and it's estimated on over 20,000 euro. He sculpted himself to look as a crossover between a knight and the organic engine. His operating style is crazy as he is. He will go into murderous rage if his body is scratched or dented, and he will always get up close and personal with his opponents with brute strength and rippers to literally tear you apart. He doesn't take jobs very often, but he has to eat, and he also doesn't care about plans or orders, just do the job, that's it. He was actually known to murder both members of opposing gangs if he stumbled upon a conflict, just randomly. The second, less crazy solo is Jean-Claude Monroe, nicknamed the Nutter. Why? Well, look at him. He is coming from a non-corporate sponsored Canadian archaeology. He started his life as very uneducated and bored. He later joined the US Marines and was taught how to fight. After 2 tours, he joined a small firm specialized in corporate security. And after proving his skills, he was tasked to be a bodyguard of some of the most prominent corpos, many owing his life to him actually. He's always looking for the highest risk jobs to keep himself entertained. Now, Jean believes in scaring people is more efficient than fighting them. That's why he spent most of his money on the Dragon Body Enhancement. That included combat enhancement and therapy so he doesn't go full cyber psycho on random people. He's equipped with claws, combat sail, and actual flamer. That's why many people attacked him thinking he was unarmed, but he had multiple ways to actually defend himself just because he was equipped with the Dragon Enhancement. He mostly sticks to himself and doesn't have any friends, he just seeks out the most interesting jobs. And the last on the list is Mihoshi Oni. She is a deadly ex-Yakuza member, and from the earliest days, she was trained in more traditional, silent, weapons combat. She quickly gained her reputation as one of the most dangerous Yakuza soldiers out there, being sent to do most of the wet work. After she was almost caught for the murders, Yakuza spirited her away and she avoided arrest. After that, she started working as a bodyguard. Her operating style is that she will take the toughest jobs that test her physical and mental readiness by putting her life on the line with every job she takes. Generally, she likes to play with her opponents that are not very skilled, but when it comes to more skilled and respected opponents, she likes to just take them out of the way as quickly as possible, usually getting personal with her swords. So these were some of the most dangerous solos out there. Next time we're going to dive deeper into the shadow list to see more about Netrunners. So subscribe for more Cyberpunk content, and also tell me down below which one of these solos is your favorite. You can even use these examples to kind of craft your character in Cyberpunk 2077. Obviously, I don't know if you're gonna be able to have a dragon body enhancement. That would be cool, but you can take some inspiration from these solos, because these characters were actually pre-made to serve in the games as well, in the tabletop games. Also, don't forget to join our growing community on Twitter and Discord. This is LKM signing out, and stay classy everyone. Bye bye.